Alrighty, so yesterday I kind of held you hostage. I kind of was like, hey, listen here, give me 1,000 likes or we're never having another video on this channel again. And to be honest, you guys absolutely smashed it. I think we're close to 1,200 likes on the video, which is amazing. So what I'm thinking is, let's keep that train going. Let's go for 1,000 likes today and I'll double upload tomorrow. And then tomorrow, if we get 1,000 likes on the first video of the day, I'll double upload the next day. So what I'm thinking is every day I'm going to do a video in the morning. If you guys get 1,000 likes on that video, we'll do a second upload. I feel like that's a pretty good deal. So let's do that. 1,000 likes on today's video and we'll do a double upload tomorrow. So now that we got some business out of the way, we talked a little bit of a deal. Let's focus on today's relocation franchise. This is episode 3. What my whole plan is, let's get to the draft. Let's get that trade done that we talked about in episode 2, and then we'll kind of sim through a couple games, see what goes on, see how we're doing. So it's more of a behind the scenes episode. May not be a lot of gameplay, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So if you do enjoy the video, hit that like button down below. Remember, 1,000 likes and we'll start this double upload train going forward. If you're new to the channel, you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Next to it is this little bell icon. Click that as well so you're notified whenever a video does go live. And in the comment section today, I don't know, just tell me what you guys think about the series so far. That's what I want to know. I want you to tell me what you think about the series so far. And obviously I'm going to do a poll in the top right corner, and that's going to be something about this series. So that'll be later on in the video. So you got to make sure you're watching to be ready when that poll pops up. If you guys don't know, all my social media links are down in the description below. I'm talking Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. We got my Twitch channel. I didn't stream last night. I was way too tired. We're streaming tonight. And then also my TikTok. I've been putting some funny clips that have been going on throughout videos. Maybe some Twitch streams as well in the future. So if you guys want to see that, go follow my TikTok. I think that's about it, guys. That's the social media. That's the plug for all that stuff there. And let's get into today's video because I'm really excited about this relocation franchise episode. So in the last episode, I did do a poll. And the poll that I did was asking for a starting pitcher. We had Matthew Boyd, Robbie Ray, Trevor Williams, and Joe Musgrove were the options. And there were 2 pitchers that the poll was really close for. But in the end, it was the choice of the Pirates pitcher. And that was Musgrove, I think. Now I need to double check. It was Joe Musgrove. The one that came close, came in second, was Matthew Boyd. So what we're going to do is obviously we're going to go for Joe Musgrove. And I think that's a pretty good pick. The choice or the trade was D. Gordon. It was a catcher, Cal Raleigh. And then it was somebody else. I think it was Alan Hansen. It was Alan Hansen or Tim. It was Alan Hansen. So I think that was the trade. If not, this is the trade we're going to go with. And I think this going forward is a pretty good option. So now after that trade, we are a little weak at the second base position, but I'm thinking Shed Long can definitely jump into that spot. But let's take a look at the rest of the roster, just kind of get an idea of what we could do to change the team. So now we got Shed Long in the squad, obviously filling in at second base. But when I look at it, I feel like the team is still kind of missing something. I do kind of like Malik Smith, gives us that speed option. He may not hit for a crazy good average, but at least he gives us some speed now that we're lacking with D. Gordon being gone. Kyle Seager, we got Mitch, we got Vogelbach, Carlos Gonzalez, Shed Long, JP Crawford, Kyle Lewis, and Austin Nola. I still feel like we're missing kind of that almost superstar or a player that is missing. I feel like we don't really have a player to build around just yet. Evan White's coming up, JP Crawford's still developing, Kyle Lewis and Shed Long. We got Kellenic, Julio Rodriguez. We've got a lot of up and coming stars, but we don't really have that guy that's on the cusp of being a superstar. And even in the pitching rotation, we really don't have that either. So I feel like that's what we're missing. That's really what we're kind of lacking. So I'm going to try to find a couple options, see if we can trade for some of those just to bring them in, because we're a team that's trying to win, but we're also still kind of in that rebuilding phase. So going out and trading for a superstar now doesn't make a lot of sense, but maybe someone that's on the cusp of being a superstar. All right, I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked at the lineup and I was like, I kind of like our lineup. I don't really want to change too many of the players, and really the only area I was willing to possibly upgrade or look to get better at was catcher, because yeah, we have Tom Murphy, yeah, we have Austin Nola, but like I look at them and I'm like, they're not really players I'm looking to keep for the future, right? Malik Smith is going to develop. Mitch Haniger definitely going to get a little bit better. Vogelbach is going to get overtaken by Evan White. Carlos Gonzalez is a DH. We can always replace him quite easily. Shed Long's sticking around. JP Crawford, Kyle Lewis. So like, catcher is like the area I'm like, we definitely kind of need someone there. So in the poll, in the top right hand corner, that's where I've been putting the polls, obviously, I'm looking at catchers, and the options that I'm thinking about going after are: one, Jorge Alfaro, a player who definitely is kind of on the up as a catcher. Hitting wise, needs to figure it out, but definitely has the arm and the ability to be a solid catcher. So that's the first one we're going to go for. And the trade is the following. It's going to be Alfaro for Tom Murphy, who's like currently our backup anyways, Kendall Graveman, and Matt Festa. That's going to be the trade for Alfaro. This one's kind of the big one, and it's Wilson Contreras, because I feel like, yes, he's right there on the cusp of being like a superstar, one of the best catchers in baseball. The thing is, it's going to take a lot to get him. We're talking about Jake Shiner. We got Tom Murphy as well. And this is the big one, Logan Gilbert. I don't really want to get rid of one of our top prospects, but when you look at players that we also have, Justin Dunn, Justice Sheffield, George Kirby, would you guys be okay with getting rid of one of those pitching prospects to get a bona fide superstar in Wilson Contreras? Let me know in the poll. And this is going to be the final one. There's only going to be 3 options. I feel like Gary Sanchez is kind of out of our league, and I feel like we could definitely go with one of these 3, and I feel like this would be a good option. So this one's going to be Mitch Garver of the Twins. Had a breakout year last year, and I feel like he could be a good option for the next couple seasons. We're going to trade Mitch Garver for Tom Murphy, Tim Lopez, and then Sam Carlson, or is it Tim Lopes? So those are your 3 options. I'm going to leave the poll finally up here in the top corner. Go and give it a vote. Let me know if we should trade for any of the catchers. I'll also leave an options for don't do a trade. So that way you have the 3 options of Alfaro, Contreras, Garver, and don't do a trade. So that way, if you guys feel like we shouldn't go after a catcher, we should just kind of let the team develop a little bit more, then we'll do that. So now that we have this done, I'm going to sim up to the draft. I'm going to get the draft out of the way, and let's just see how this, what we get from the draft, and that might even help you out with some of the picks that we do, or if we do a trade or not, I should say. All right, so we have our first major injury of the franchise, and I didn't think this was actually going to happen. I remember to turn on injuries, but here we go. Kyle Seager's gone for about 2 months. So what I'm going to do is I'll put him on the 10-day injured list. But that actually kind of puts a wrench in my plans, that is a little bit of a downer, that does kind of hurt us. So hopefully, we can bounce back from that. Hopefully there's someone that can kind of step into that spot, and we should be okay. It should be Dylan Moore. I don't really want him there, but I don't really know who else to put there. But we'll see how that goes. That's the little update, and let's get to draft day. All right, we're at draft day. Let's go take a look. Let's see how this plays out. And I noticed one name already that was taken that I had my eye on, and it was this first baseman, because that fielding stat. Look at that, 70 fielding, 65 arm accuracy, and 70 reactions, along with good contact stats. Yeah, he may be 6'3", and yeah, he actually throws lefty. I didn't realize that about. Throws lefty, definitely probably a first baseman, or I maybe move him to like left field or something. But that was the guy I wanted. That was my first pick that I wanted, and I was kind of hoping he would have snuck to us, but unfortunately he didn't. So I decided to go kind of pitcher heavy with the scouting, on top of scouting catchers. Not so much outfielders, because I felt like we were really strong with our outfield to begin with. So when you look at what is available in the draft class, this was our best available option, and it was a closing pitcher. And I thought about it, going for a pitcher probably made more sense, especially in the bullpen, because that's where we're really, really weak. So this was our first pick. I'm kind of interested to see how he ends up being overall wise. All right, so we just got through the draft. Jesus, there's something that just flew into my eye, but we got through the draft. Let's take a look and see how it went. I do want to see that first baseman though, since that was kind of the one pick that I really wanted. Let's go take a look at him. So Mario Velasquez got some good contact stats, some good fielding as well, 99 potential, and obviously he's a first baseman, 63 overall. I mean, he looks really solid already. So that was definitely a pick that I would have wanted, and unfortunately we weren't able to get him. So we're going to go through a couple other teams just to kind of see if there was any other picks that really stood out. And so far, I mean, Edgar Cortez actually looks pretty good. And looking at the rest, though, it's kind of looking like there's not a lot of high rated players in this draft, which is kind of a bummer. Normally there's like at least 170 kind of sitting around, but so far it doesn't really look like any of these picks are like MLB ready within a season or two, which is kind of disappointing. I'm normally there's one, Sammy Ayala. There's the first one, and it's a closer, but from the most part, pretty disappointed with how these picks are turning out. So Roderick Canales looks decent as another closer, but no position players that are standing out to me, which is sad, because normally I like to pick up a position player that should be MLB ready within a couple seasons, and it's not looking like that's the case. So let's get to our picks. Let's see how we're doing. So here we are. Our first pick was Sean Lamb, and he looks good. 73 overall, 92 potential. Got that fastball, that two seam, the curve, and the sinker. I like the pitch selection. I like the fact that he's a lefty as well. Got some nice stats. Our second pick didn't go as according to plan. Jeff Ordonez. I did try to pick up a catcher, and it looks like it wasn't the best option. Decent hitting stats, but outside of that, he's just not that great. Freddie Maraville is a starting pitcher. Looks decent. 87 potential, 63 overall. Got fastball, changeup, splitter, good velocity. That's what I like to see. When we take a look at our next pick, Von Seaver. I went with him just based off the name, kind of close to Tom Seaver. Thought maybe, just maybe, maybe some like long lost relative, who knows, but 99 velocity, got 76 potential. Pedro Campos is 72 overall, but he's only got 73 potential. Maybe that'll change. Really good hitter. So potentially could be a backup for us and a switch hitter. I like that. And then Brian Stefani as our last pick, 64 overall with 83 potential. Again, another lefty, but his per nines already look very, very solid. So he's one of those players that I think is going to develop pretty quickly, and we should be okay. So yes, it was a pitcher heavy draft, but I felt like those were the best options available to us. And of course, we could have used some bullpen help anyway. So Lamb and Stefani, pretty good options. Our second major injury, and this one actually kind of hurts. This one we don't really have a lot of depth in that is MLB ready. Malik Smith goes down for 6 months, so he's done. No more Malik Smith for the season, and this one's tough. This one's huge, man. Torn Achilles. Ooh, that's tough, man. What are we gonna do now? Let's take a look at Malik Smith, see how he was doing on the year prior to that injury. He was hitting 280, had a 347 on base percentage, 23 doubles, 10 stolen bases. Like, he was having a decent year. He just got hurt, which is tough. It's tough. He's out for the season, and that was tough. I think he was having a good year. He was developing. He was probably going to be our starting center fielder until Kelenic came up, and then we would have to definitely figure out how to get him involved. So it's looking like we're going to need to find another outfielder, because I don't think we have anybody that's MLB ready just yet. Kelenic is almost there. Julio Rodriguez is almost there. Braden Bishop, I just don't think he's ready, but he might be the guy that has to come up because we don't really have anybody else. So there is another poll. Yeah, 2 polls in today's episode. What I'm thinking, it's crazy. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm going to be looking at free agents because Malik Smith is done for the season, right? And I don't feel like any of the players that are currently in our farm system are going to be good enough to actually help us out. So who do we go after in free agency? I think that's kind of the move that we need to do. So when I'm looking at it, obviously Adam Jones is currently in Japan. I think he's in Japan. BJ Upton, I think, is retired in real life, but then, there's not really too many other options here. So the poll is going to be, do we sign Yasiel Puig for the rest of the season? Yes or no? In the top right-hand corner, it's going to be up there. And then what I would do is either move Cargo to center field or Mitch to center field. Mitch did play about a third of his games last year prior to injury in center field, so I feel like he could be a suitable option just for the remainder of the year. And then once the season's over, we would move him back to right. So that is the poll, the second poll of the day. Go in that top corner and vote for Puig, yes or no. Do we bring him in? Alrighty, let's do a quick little team update prior to July. Since we're about to hit the trade deadline, we're about to talk. Well, obviously, we already have the poll for possibly making a trade for a new catcher. So let's just kind of see how the team's doing, where we're at, since we're almost halfway through the season. so far. So Marco Gonzalez, like I said, he's probably not going to be the ace of the team, but for a season so far, I'm okay with that. He's 8-3 on the year, 100 innings pitched, 70 strikeouts, a 4.16 ERA, and a 1.4 WHIP. Henderson Alvarez is actually having quite a good year. Yeah, the wins and losses aren't there, but 100 innings pitched, the ERA is pretty good. It's actually really good. The WHIP sitting around 1.2, 1.3. I can respect that. Joe Musgrove, obviously the new addition to the team, and that's going pretty well. 86 innings pitched, so it's a little low, but I'll definitely take that. 61 strikeouts, 3.6 ERA, and a 1.4 WHIP. Moving at Taijuan Walker, a little disappointing. Definitely wish he would be doing a little bit better, but again, not terrible. And then Yusei Kikuchi is just not the player that we were hoping he was going to be, and in the end, probably going to be a player we look to replace in the future. Kendall Graveman took over for Wei-Yin Chen since Wei-Yin Chen had like a 6 ERA, so I decided to get rid of him, and to be honest, he's doing okay. The WHIP's kind of high, 1.6, but I think that's something we can work with. Altavilla, not doing great. Taylor Williams is doing atrocious. Austin Adams, pretty bad. So our bullpen is just garbage. I feel like that's what's losing us a lot of games. Cedeno's our best reliever, and that was a great pickup that we did at the beginning of the year. Carl Edwards Jr. is just not doing fantastic either, and neither is Hirano. So maybe something like a free agent pickup for a reliever this year, or we just ride it out and just see how we do to finish the season. When we look at the lineup, let's kind of take a look at Tom Murphy. 224 average, not really cutting it, Tim Lopez at 100 at bats is hitting just under 300. So to be honest, he's actually not been a bad platoon second baseman, third baseman for us. Dylan Moore obviously filled in while Kyle Seager was injured. Not terrible, not great, but not terrible. And then when we look at Donnie Walton, limited appearances, but again, hasn't been doing too terrible. So Shed Long, obviously our new second baseman, has been doing fantastic. 15 doubles, 11 home runs, 270 average, 810 OPS. That's a good year. Mitch is having a all-star year. Fantastic. 326 average, almost 1,000 OPS, 27 doubles, 13 home runs, or 16 home runs, sorry. That's a great year. Kyle Seager, a little bit of a down year. Again, just not a lot of home runs, which I was hoping for a little bit better, but he's not doing terribly. Daniel Vogelbach, he's kind of one of those players where I'm at the point where I might just have Evan White start over him and just let him be our DH. I feel like DH versus righties, because I feel like he's just not really cutting it anymore. The home runs, yeah, it's okay. RBIs are okay, but the average just isn't fantastic. Even the OPS is under 800, so it's just not a great look. Carlos Gonzalez, obviously our starting center fielder. In the meantime, home runs, it's an okay year. Don't expect too much from him, so we'll see how he does. Evan White at 261, kind of starting to get some games under his feet. I feel like he might just be the starting first baseman going forward. When we look at JP Crawford, we're at a 275 average, 8 home runs, 9 doubles. You know what? The average is okay. The OPS is just under 800, which isn't fantastic. But you know what? Good average, good amount of home runs. He's going to improve. I'm okay with that. Kyle Lewis, 270 average, 10 home runs. Actually having a fantastic year. I like to see that. Definitely like to see that. And then Austin Nola. Again, that's why I'm kind of looking for a really good catcher. I feel like both catchers have been pretty lackluster so far. So we're actually going to end the episode there after the team update. I felt like it was a good episode. We talked about a lot of stuff. Draft day, a possible trade for a catcher, a possible free agent signing in the controversial Yasiel Puig. We had a lot. We had 2 major injuries. Malik Smith is out for the year, and I feel like we're in a good spot right now. There was a lot of info. It was more of a behind the scenes look at it and not necessarily gameplay focused. Going forward with this series, I definitely want to include at least one game in each episode, possibly do kind of like highlights from different games so you guys can kind of get an idea of what's going on. But this is still the first season. This is kind of like the building blocks going forward for the franchise. So I'm okay with kind of spending a shorter episode with you guys to talk about what's going on behind the scenes, what could we do with the team going forward, and just kind of give you guys more of an in-depth look at it. So if you're okay with having that happen every, maybe 4 or 5 episodes where we kind of do a behind the scenes look, I'm cool with that too. So there we go. Get involved in that poll in the top right hand corner. I'm sorry it wasn't like a crazy in-depth episode where we played games and like We did a bunch of trades, but I want you guys to be involved. I want you guys to see what I'm doing behind the scenes as well, and I hope you do enjoy it. If you did, thumbs up down below. Let's get 1,000 likes. We'll do a double upload tomorrow, and what I'll do is I'll do an episode of Vandal's franchise, and I'll do a rebuild tomorrow as well. So you get 2 videos, a franchise and a rebuild. So 1,000 likes on the video. I hope you do enjoy it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and in the comment section down below, kind of give me some ideas what you want from this series. I definitely want you guys to be involved as much as I'm, obviously controlling the reins or controlling the controller. So that's what I want. I want you guys to be involved. I want this to be your series as much as mine, and that's why I kind of did a behind the scenes episode today. So I hope you did enjoy it. Up top, obviously, are going to be 2 videos. Go check them out if you haven't yet. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.